Hey everybody, let's talk about the first gen Honda Prelude. I haven't owned one of these, so this really is kind of my first major experience in getting to experience one. But this car was introduced in 1979 and lived through 1982. So the example you're looking at here is a lightly modified 1982 model. The car belongs to actually my mechanic, so I've seen it around the shop for a number of years now and kind of just been curious about it, and anyway, took the opportunity to borrow it for about a week or so just to have fun with it. And I believe he is going to entertain offers. If anybody out there in internet land is interested in owning such a car, I can put you in touch, but let me know. Anyway, so what we're looking at here is the last model year of the first generation Prelude. This car was kind of ahead of its time just in terms of a few of the features and things about it. Every Prelude, you may not know, every Prelude for each of its 5 generations came standard with a sunroof, which is pretty huge on this car. Let's take a peek at the interior. We are looking at a fairly modified example here. So he has some kind of racing style bucket seats here installed. Aftermarket stereo, steering wheel. There's your big glass roof here. The air conditioning in here actually works ice cold, which is pretty awesome. Everything else is kind of showing its wear after 4 decades. The car used to be a navy blue. You can see here in the door jambs that the paint job didn't quite encompass the entire jam. And the closer you get to this copper or orange, the more sort of orange peel you can detect. Obviously, we're rolling on some aftermarket wheels. These look like they are 15s. Believe it or not, this car originally came with 13s. Can you imagine even trying to find tires for 13s these days? Anyway, the car is actually a little bit more fun to drive than you would think for having only 72 horsepower. It's not a car that's going to rip away from a stoplight really, but it'll cruise comfortably on the highway and kind of do just fine there if you're not in a huge hurry. Something that's kind of interesting about this model year is that there were some changes applied to the dash design as well as to some of the interior trim over the years. So I'll show you a picture here in some promotional material. Let me just walk you through this. I'm going to give him this packet which has some of the, I happen to have a couple of dealer promo items on this car. So check this out. The 79 and 80, maybe 81, somebody can correct me, but the early Preludes actually had the tachometer and the speedometer on the same axis right there in the middle of the gauge cluster, and then also kind of a cool little radio dial here on the right hand side. Now this car went back to a more traditional split cluster format, and then you might have even just heard the clock going. It just changed numbers, and kind of old school analog looking clock. Looks like this page is sort of discussing some of the accessories. What else do I have on here? This one is talking about the standard features, including coin box, glove box with a light. Yep, good features for the 1970s and 80s. Here is the spec sheet. So I don't know what off of here might have changed between 79 and 82, so just kind of for whatever it's worth, though, this is some of the content The motor here was shared with, I want to say, some of the other Honda models of its time, Civic or Accord, including that classic CVCC technology. Again, 72 horsepower from a 3-barrel carburetor motor. While we're at it, I guess let's go take a look under the hood. And by the way, you can definitely see evidence of some prior bodywork here up front. I don't know about any accident history, but like I said, she's a little rough around the edges. There's the heart of the beast in all its glory. Look like a fresh oil filter. I would expect nothing less since the car belongs to my mechanic, and it does start up and run about as well as they possibly can. There's some oil burning for sure because there's a little bit of blue smoke out the tailpipe, but otherwise, like I said, mechanically it seems to be pretty well dialed in. Blacked out tail lights. I checked eBay real quick, and you can get original non-blacked out tails, as well as the marker lamps here on either corner. The mirrors too, interestingly enough, are aftermarket. This car came with, I want to say they were more black plastic squared off or rectangular style. So these are more just kind of I guess you could call it sort of a JDM or aesthetic throwback there with the chrome mirrors. And just before I go move this car for some driving video, I thought you guys might get a kick out of this. So this ignition here is modified. We've got the key in here. You turn that all the way so the steering wheel lock is off. Then we have a toggle switch here. Then guess what? We have a push button starter. Let's see how she sounds. Just like that. Let's cruise this thing around for just a second while I get some driving video. That's about it for this little intro. If anybody is interested in this little old school JDM project car, feel free to let me know. You can reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with the owner, and it'd be cool to see this thing go to a good home.